John Beaudin, rock history music. File this under, why can't we just all get along? Do the fans really want this kind of things? Here's, with all the infighting with Journey and everything that's going on, I think I think it's safe to say that, they're getting a lot of press. I'm covering them. I didn't even cover the copyright Steve Perry thing. For whatever reason that week, I was feeling a little extra anxiety. And I told myself, I'm not going to cover this. Can't handle it right now. Should be there, my job. But didn't do it. Should have done it, but here I am. So it started yesterday or the day before, was it? I can't even remember. Neal Schon claiming that his bandmate Jonathan Cain was cutting him out of funds available via the American Express card, that he didn't have access to it. Ooh, look at this background. That's all shiny and crazy. And he tried, and he's reached out to Jonathan Cain, paraphrasing, that he can't get access to that Journey American Express account. So now Jonathan Cain is fired back. Hi, Kim. Kim's such a big supporter of us. Appreciate you, Kim. So Jonathan says Neal's always had access to the credit card. This is what he told TMZ. And that he's really upset that he's not being able to up his spending limit on his own. John says Neal's been dealing with a lot of pressure over debt related to an extravagant lifestyle and excessive spending, which he believes Neal was trying to resolve by spending even more. John says when measures were taken to limit the spending on Journey's credit card, that's when Neal went on the offensive with the lawsuit, to which John says is frivolous and without merit. Why I oughta? If that's the truth, because everyone's got a side, you go to court with things sometimes, and I've sat in on court cases as a young radio reporter. And I remember sitting, have you ever done this? Even if you watch it on TV and you go, well, that side makes sense, but that side's ridiculous. That's why one side wins, one side loses. But yesterday I was thinking, well, why would he not have access to the Journey? Neal Schon have access to the Journey credit card? That doesn't make any sense. And now Jonathan Cain says, well, you've been overspending. And I guess they share that because that's a 50-50 company split as far as this current Journey stuff is concerned with Jonathan Cain and Neal Schon. Kim Trickle, Monday. Oh, thank you, Kim. I appreciate that. Neutral 69. Yo, John. Gary Bryan, Journey is a train wreck. It's an unfortunate thing. I'm talking to Trev Lukather, and of course he's marrying, he's Steve Lukather's son, and Steve Perry's like a second dad to him. I'm not going to ask him about this because it's not really concerning him. And Trev has amazing new music out, and I love that he's such a good guy. I have so much respect for him. Steve Lukather's son. We're going to talk to him next week. I'm not going to ask him about this because he is marrying into Jonathan Cain's family. So it's and I mentioned on Monday, thank you, Kim, that when I interviewed Travis Thibodeau, who was the traveling vocalist / keyboardist for Journey, the interview was shut down by one of the Journey guys. Jonathan Cain brought him in. I would think it was Jonathan Cain, but I don't know that because I asked him about drama in Journey, to which he said there was none when he was with them. Again, I'm taking his word for it. There's a lot of drama in this band when Steve Perry is going after them because of them trying to copyright 25 songs. That's a lawsuit. Then there was the mutiny of Ross Valerie and Steve Smith, etc., trying to get control of the band. There's just something arduous about talking about this. I mean, someone had said in the comments of the Monday video that I put up that drama, Fleetwood Mac says, hold my beer. Yeah, it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other. But the fact that there is so much heavy energy here and someone has lost perspective here or both. Because when celebrities sometimes can easily lose perspective by the people who are in their in their camps. You know, I'm not sure what kind of lifestyle Neal Schon has. I wish him well. He seems like he's an amazing player. I interviewed Jonathan Cain a couple of years ago when he wrote his book. Gave me great answers. Made an effort during the interview. It was a fun interview. I really enjoyed talking to him. So let me get to your comments. Cecilia, they should really keep their private business off social media and deal with it like adults. I don't know why Schon and his wife need to broadcast everything. Neutral 69, it's Neal Schon to blame. A real Bill P. Looks like Sister Paula may be rubbing off on John Friga. Cal Glory Corner. Is this on? I gotta make sure that my mic's on. Yes. Bill Rossi 49. I saw Journey open for ELP and it was Steve Perry debut concert. Wow. That's something to brag about. That's pretty cool. Snowman. I think Neal Schon lost his mind years ago. Starry Bear. Neal Schon probably has spent an absurd amount just on guitars. Cal's Glory Corner. I do believe Journey has destroyed itself from within, like all great things. Robert says that they both marry Yoko. Kim the President, Journey should quit. Cal, agree. Your typo, that's okay. Neutral 69. Neal Schon is the reason why the great Steve Perry left Journey. Ultimately, I don't know if we'll ever know. Someone was asking me the other day, say, how come your bruise is gone? I'm actually having to wear makeup because today I'm trying to do a video because of my mole that was really, I have a mole here that was removed and then another little blemish. They said, hey, we'll do that for free. And I went, sure, let's do it. But I never thought, wait a minute, I do videos every day. I'm going to look like I was in a bar fight. And now I'm having to do Christmas greetings for the radio station I work for in Vancouver. And I went, I can't go on looking like this. People are going to go, oh, look, John likes Christmas so much. He got his head beaten in a bar at Christmas time. So I had to do that. Journey have a tour with Toto. We've all heard of the separate limousines. That usually happens anyway. You know, not everyone gets out of the hotel at the same time to go to the concert venue. So it's the old thing about the separate limousines is so common now because of timing. Separate limousines will definitely be the case no matter what. If they continue, and I think financially they have to continue. And they've had drama before, the whole White House thing, the whole Paula White thing. Jonathan Cain is married to her. I'm not picking sides here, that Neal Schon wasn't happy that Ross Valerie and Arnel Pineda and Jonathan visited the White House at that point. He didn't want to politicize, or says he didn't want to politicize that. There's a whole Steve Perry copyright thing. There's a lot going on here. And I'm not sure why it's being played out into the press. Hey, for us, we get hits out of it. That's true. But we also have to report it. If we're going to follow, I mean, a lot of people gave me hell for not reporting the Steve Perry thing. I was just dipping that week a little bit. Sometimes I suffer from depression. And there was a part of me that just said, I'm sorry, guys, I just can't handle this. Then Shannon says, well, I'll come on and talk about it. And I says, are you ready for the Sharks if you come on? But that's the nature of reporting rock and roll, where people will pick sides. And sometimes this becomes a political thing. You know that. For the people who are on the left, they take that side. On the right, and I understand that. Everyone does that. Not everyone does that, but you can understand. Mozilla. Schon equals common denominator. Real Bill P. I've known 3 original members of Journey for nearly 50 years. Steve Perry's family. Cool. Stephen J. Most Journey and almost Toto have to tour coming up. Wonder if that jeopardizes this. It seems like it does, but it doesn't mean it does. Because fighting in the public like that usually means a band's going to break up. But Journey seems to have 9 lives. Remember I said on Monday that it was Jeannie Most at CNN who used a clip of my video where I'm walking on the beach in Penticton, BC, in Canada, saying, is Journey going to break up? And she just used that part. And she said, there's a lot of drama. And she talked about that. And everyone kept telling me, you're on CNN. I'm going, no, I'm not. But I didn't realize Jeannie Most had used a clip. And I'm fine with that because she put rock history music on there. And we did gain a lot of subscribers. But so drama and Journey it's just part and parcel. It happens. They don't always get along. Look at all that crazy stuff happening behind me. Sounds like Queensryche all over again. John Rendell. Neutral 69. Do you think Arnel Pineda is a good singer? I do. You know, a few people since Monday have said, oh, he's not a great singer. Well, to go up there on stage, Travis Thibodeau did say that part of the reason he's not with them anymore, and they wouldn't let me use the interview, Journey told him, you better get him to take those videos down. And what was I going to do? Travis is a good guy. He's an honest, good man. He didn't think doing an interview with me while he was a touring member of Journey would jeopardize his position in Journey. That's not why he's not with them anymore. They went on and did some other things, but there you go. Sorry, Bear. Neutral 69. Arnel Pineda is a damn good singer. Only a fool would say otherwise. Come on. He's singing Steve Perry songs. You know, what else do I have to say? Anyway, I hope everyone's doing okay. It's nice to be on here to talk about stuff that, you know, and I really like Journey. Love and Touch and Squeezing. My son and I were going to a Lebanese restaurant today just to try out a new place. And while we were driving there, he has his Spotify hooked onto his stereo system, like a lot of us do. And Love and Touch and Squeezing came on. And I asked Chase, I said, you have a lot of new stuff on your playlist, but you have a lot of classic rock. And he said, you know, when it comes to Journey, it's just so top notch, and it stands the test of time. And there's not a lot of bands that can stand up to Journey, whether it's Neal, Schon, Steve Smith on drums, Steve Perry, Jonathan Cain's an amazing songwriter and keyboard player. They're talented guys, but it doesn't mean they're as level-headed as they could be. And it doesn't mean they're not dipping here or tired. And they've been doing this for so long. Did they lose objectivity? Maybe. I don't think I'd want to fight in public like this. I've never gone through a divorce while I was on the internet. I've never had to do that. Shannon and I have been together since 1997. And I've never had to go through the sharp feeling kind of stuff that Journey's obviously going through. To reiterate, really paraphrase here, Neal Schon yesterday or on Monday said that he was suing Jonathan Cain because he didn't have access to the Journey American Express account. And he didn't know why that was. And today, or earlier today or yesterday, Jonathan Cain came forward and said, well, wait a minute. You don't have access to it, paraphrasing, because you're overspending on it. So you kind of cut off. So who's telling the truth? I don't know. It's kind of weird when you have two bandmates like this that have known each other, that they have to look each other in the eye, that one is saying something, one is not telling the truth. You know how it is when you were in a family and you'd say, he did it, no, he did it. And you're at the dinner table and you're blaming each other for something. Wasn't there a part of you sometimes that thought, yeah, well, they know I'm lying. My brother over there knows I'm lying. I'm just trying to save face and not trying to get in trouble. Wasn't there a part of you that kind of felt, because everyone's done it a little bit, where you go, my brother or sister, whoever across the table, they know I'm lying. And to make it even worse, I'm blaming them or something. Like Neal, Schon, and Jonathan Cain have to look each other in the eye at one point and realize the other person, one person is not telling the truth or is stretching the truth. So is that exclusive to rock and roll? Nope. Like I said, goes back to us being kids at the dinner table. As you can tell, I just got a haircut. Got the line. And our barber, Adam, was telling us about stories about his brother and, how his brother is just really wired differently than he is. Like, there's just completely different guys, and his brother keeps getting in trouble. There's always one guy who stretches it a little bit more in every group, in every family, in every church. It doesn't matter what, any organization, any system, there's always one person who creates crap more than the others. Sometimes that's because it deserves that, because the system is broken. But sometimes it's just someone, I don't know. Kim, Journey is almost a tribute band now. I miss the early members. Valerie, yeah, Greg Raleigh, yeah. Steve Smith and Perry. John, the retired guy. Hey, John, love and touch and suing each other. Okay, that's good. That's pretty good. Starry Bear. Remember Steve Agari? Yeah. He wasn't bad either. But holy cow, isn't Dean Castronovo? Yeah, a fantastic singer. I didn't know that till a few years ago. I said, what? Sounds like Steve Perry. With a slight different edge in there. Dave Smith, at what point do bands who switch singers become tribute bands? How many of the original Journey members are still in the band? I do understand the Steve Perry situation. Yeah, I hear you. Neutral 69, LOL, John. Cecilia, love Dean. Everyone loves Dean. I was just talking to Jason Sheffen, of course. They were in a band together that just released an album. And he said, Dean's just a guy. He's just funny. Just a funny guy. But wired tightly. Like a guy who's on all the time. But we've all had friends like that. And they're fun, right? Starry Bear, there are always three sides to every story. Yeah, that's right. Your side, this side, and the truth. Yeah. Maybe a little exaggeration on each part, right? It's still sad because I think I listen to Journey more now than I did in the 80s. Thanks to my son, Chase, who a lot of you know is a drummer, very good drummer. And he loves Steve Smith. Was sad about the lawsuit, a little while ago, where there seemed to be mutiny among the players, which is really sad when you look at it, And then the copyright for those 25 songs, and Steve Perry stepped in and said, wait a minute. And now Neal Schon accusing Jonathan Cain of saying, hey, you're locking me out. Why am I locked out of the American Express account? And now Jonathan Cain says, you're locked out because you're overspending. Paraphrasing, of course. Mozilla, last guy to grow up is Neal. John, the retired guy. Starry Bear. Dean is fantastic. Greg Parker, nobody really knows what it is besides a mess. You can't assume, but it's definitely about greed. That's for sure. Any of you guys watch Stacy Keach in America Greed? I can't watch that show without saying, next time on America Greed. He said he got that voice or that inflection from working with the great director, actor, John Huston. That's where Stacy Keach says he got that next time on America Greed. Brr. So it was a John Huston thing, who's long dead, of course. Angelica Houston's dad. Tabby, for Christ's sake, who the hell cares? There you go. Music is not about drama. It's about connections with people and making folks happy. Can't we just discuss the greatness instead? Well, we have in this case as well. Music stream. Dean sounds better than Arnell, but he's stuck behind the drums, so they need Arnell as a frontman. I don't think they can back off. I like Arnell as much as I like Dean, but I wish there was more of both of them. Daryl Pike. A lot of drama in Journey 2. Seen them. I've only seen the Escape Tour. I've only seen them once. And that's, a lot of people would say that's the tour to have seen. John, the retired guy. Schon should just do Journey Through Time. Yeah. Saw them in Oakland. They were fantastic. And I love Ross Valerie. I love Ross Valerie. He's a cool guy. Real Bill P. John. That's what I watch. That's why I watch your channel. You speak truth to BS. Tabby, thank you, Neutral 69. Robert Schluter, best rock channel on YouTube. Thank you, Rock History Book. Yeah, but what about American Greed? Oh, sorry, don't mean to overmodulate the mic. Angels Vinyl World. Journey reminds me somewhat of Boston. Tom Scholz had many legal battles with record companies and band members. Yeah, I understand that. By the way, I interviewed Graham Goebel last night for the fourth time. I can never remember these things. I don't know why. And interviewing Graham Goebel is never an hour affair. He sets away time. He wants to get to know. He's one of the chief songwriters in Little River Band. But but he was produced by John Beaudin, who obviously kind of produced Boston. There's always people wondering how much of Boston he actually produced, because Tom Scholz is known to have done most of that stuff. And I asked him, interesting story. I said, so yeah, you had Boston's producer. You were there. He used him before and after Boston. And did you guys ever ask about Boston to John? And he said, not really. And Graham Goebel says, that's so apples and oranges with us. Like, More Than the Feeling's a good song, but it certainly wasn't what we were into. So he said, no, not really. I found that interesting, because I'm a huge Boston fanatic. I'd love to have Tom Scholz on this channel. Tom would probably say, the guys you had on are full of crap. Maybe. But I ask a question, they answer. Then anyone who wants to come in as a rebuttal, they're more than welcome to. Dean is a great singer. Yes, Starry Bear. By the way, I am a drummer too since 95. Cool. Kim, Boston's last album was awful. I wasn't a big fan. Karen Troop. Mr. Randall, you owe me copyright royalties. I made the exact same statement about Queensryche yesterday. Telecast host on John and Schon. Carol Newsom. Won't the Amex record pulled? Yeah, they will be pulled in court. That's why chances are this will be settled out of court. That's why this will be dropped, because Jonathan Cain, even though the TMZ story didn't say it, there might have been a new one, a follow-up, said that basically they might just sort of drop it. Jonathan Cain says drop the suit to Neal Schon. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there. Neutral 69. Journey like the Eagles. Yeah, well, a lot of drama in the Eagles. Oh, Ansley Dunbar. Yes, that's right. In early days. Starry Bear. At least Journey isn't Foreigner. Literally, at the many points, there is no original members. Like none. Yeah. Who was telling me I was just going into reporting. I was just going through the comments today where, the Guess Who, where Gary Peterson, the original drummer, has bowed out of some of the I guess, recent shows. And he, at one point of the touring band right now, is the only original member from the Guess Who. So there's none. Just like Lou Gramm, not Lou Gramm, but like Mick Jones, a Foreigner, who doesn't always come on stage. Certain nights, I heard, I'm not know if it's true, but he didn't come on stage. He would just bow out, or else he would come on and play a few songs, or come on the encore. So what you're seeing is, for the most part, a cover band that claims they're Foreigner. I love Foreigner, but I want to see Foreigner, right? And it's true, Lou Gramm can't sing the way he could before, but given my druthers, would I go see Foreigner or Lou Gramm singing? Even if Lou Gramm can't sing the way he could, I'd go see Lou Gramm, because he's still the guy. You know, when I spent 2 hours interviewing Lou Gramm, I cherished those 2 hours. I don't know if everything he told me was 100% accurate. With rock interviews, sometimes it's memory, sometimes it's selective memory. I don't know. But I always say, like I said to Mick Jones, if you want to come on and have a rebuttal of anything he said, please do. Robert Schluter. I listen to Journey now more than the 80s. Yes, like I said, so do I. Real Bill P. When I was a DJ back in the day, my grandmother said that I had a silent movie voice and a radio face. There you go. Dan, you don't believe that what I felt when I first heard my voice, and I'm lowering my voice now. When I first heard my voice on a little, it was a little cassette recorder not with the buttons, which I wanted, but the ones with the buttons cost more. My dad got me one with those little tape recorders with the little turn thing. I think it was, I forget, it'll come to me. Anyway, I heard my voice for the first time, and I'd made up my mind I wanted to be in radio, and I listened to it, and I went, I am screwed. I didn't realize I had I have a whiny kind of scratchy voice. I went, oh my God. Like, I'm 62 now, so my voice is lowered. But you can imagine when I was young, when I was 23 and got into radio, oh man. It was a struggle till a program director came on and said, why don't you just sound like yourself? Stop sounding like a boss jock. You're never going to sound like a boss jock. You don't have that voice. And when you try to make that voice, you sound like a freaking idiot. I went, oh, okay, point taken. Robert says, they were awesome on the Midnight Special on TV in the late 70s. Greg Raleigh on keyboards and vocals. Yeah, let's remember, Greg was the lead vocalist. Then Steve Perry came in and they shared vocals. You know? Snowman, I've seen Journey 2 times during the Escape and Frontiers tour. They were fantastic. Man, they were good in concert, yeah. Music Scream, Journey has a 50th anniversary tour next year, yeah. Wonder if they will have to cancel any of the shows or dates. It'll all be resolved by then, I'm pretty sure. He says, everyone knows how much John and Neal hate each other. I don't know if they hate each other, but they're not bosom buddies. Rand B, Little River Band, another rude awakening 2K. When it comes to Journey, Schon and Raleigh are the originals, and I bet Greg Raleigh is glad he's not in the drama. I don't think anybody wants to be, right? There's a thing about, I was in a relationship in the early 90s with a wonderful woman, just this wonderful, beautiful Italian woman. I loved her insanely, but there was a lot of fire between us. It was as good as it was bad. But I remember one time we had this conversation where we were going through a good time just before we broke up in 92. And I remember asking her, I says, we're getting off on this fighting stuff. We're getting high. The endorphins are literally boiling in, when we're fighting. And it's a known fact that that's what happens. I says, we've gotten so used to fighting, we've forgotten sometimes why we fight. But we're both suffering from depression and we're both lit up like a Christmas tree when we fight. Sometimes when people get involved in all these stuff, oh yeah, well, I'll show you. And there's a lot of that these days with the Karen movement or whatever you want to call it, when people go nuts, where otherwise they wouldn't have gone nuts 10 years ago. They're getting something out of it, and I hope this is one of those, pissing contests where they're going, oh, I'll show you, which happens a lot in bands anyway. Celia Rowley. Raleigh has a new band with his son called New Soul. They're pretty good. I'll check them out. Neutral 69. We're not going to take it anymore. By the way, I just asked for an interview with Dee Snider. Speaking of that, yesterday, I don't know if I've asked before. Fred Stryker, agree the story of the Little River Band is the worst I've ever heard. That's just crazy. They lost a name. Graham Goble talks about it again. And they have two greatest hits packages. If you go into Spotify, you'll see two new compilations from the Little River Band. They're on Spotify. I believe they're on Apple. And everything's been remastered by Graham Goble, who was one of the chief songwriters. He and Glenn Shorrock and B. Birtles in Little River Band. God, I love that band. Just before I came on, I played Middleman, one of their most harmonizing song from, forget what's the name of the album. First Under the Wire? Yeah, I think that's the name of the album. I was just going to look it up. And Help Is on Its Way is still one of my all-time favorite songs from that era. There's just, and Glenn Shorrock wrote that song, the lead singer. But there's just something driving and a sense of determination, almost like a private eye kind of like, I'm coming through. And I love that. I'm Straying. Okay, for people who just joined us, because we do have, 108 people on here. Okay, here's what happened. Monday, we reported that Neal Schon basically said that Jonathan Cain has shut him out of the American Express account. He said, I don't have access to this, don't know what's going on. I'm suing, and I'm paraphrasing right now, by the way. And today, Jonathan Cain talked to TMZ basically saying, again, I'm paraphrasing, that he's been shut out of the Journey American Express account because he's overspending. And what he wants to do to help the situation of overspending is spend more. And so he's been shut out. And he said it's a frivolous lawsuit. He should drop it. That's probably going to happen. They have a big tour. There's a lot of money at stake here. The big 50th tour next year. They're touring with Toto. It's an insane amount of money. And they're not going to not do it. So it's going to happen. How about that for a quick... Teddy Bates. Hey, Teddy. Herbert is turning over in his grave. No kidding, eh? A friend of mine, Lori Baldazzi, has a pretty long interview with Herbie Herbert. I should ask her to share it on our channel. Another rude awakening. Dean played with Schon in Hardline. Blaze Eisner. Hey, Blaze. Brother John, I'm grateful for the music and the memories. I look forward to my vinyl every morning. Have a great Wednesday. God bless you. And the rest of the radio people who made my day. By the way, happy American Thanksgiving. I know, we're just around the corner, right? Thank you. We always have American and Canadian Thanksgiving each time because, well, it's turkey, man. It's good food. It's good people. It's time to celebrate. Raise your glass. By the way, I raised my glass a little too much last night. I woke up going... Ace Larson. Journey is all about money, not about music anymore. Mozilla. Still think Greg and Steve's singing together was amazing and a great contrast. I thought it was good too when Greg Raleigh and Steve Perry were still in the band. Isn't that weird? You look back now, they're not in the band anymore. You know, these two great singers, this great, it was a transitional time when Greg Raleigh and Steve Perry were still together and then Greg left. And then Jonathan Cain came in, but then they got to this level, you know, when Jonathan Cain, and let's never take away from Neal, Schon, and Jonathan Cain as musicians. I mean, it was a perfect storm with Escape and everything that a few albums before and a few albums after. And do yourself a favor, go back to listen to the first few Journey albums with Greg Raleigh. I mean, it's a real treat. And then you see the transitions. When I was reading the Doors book, No One Here Gets Out Alive, the Danny Sugarman book, I decided, even though I knew the Doors hits and a few of the singles that might have been played on the radio in the early 80s, I went back and Hammer the Gods, I did the same thing. But in this case, I knew Zeppelin way better than the Doors. I'd listen I'd read the book. And when I got to the first album, you know, from 1967, the Doors debut, Summer of Love, I would listen to how each song was made and I listen to the album very differently. It's kind of like liner notes. When you're reading a book while discovering a band, it's like the ultimate liner notes. And you hope it's true because you never know. But I enjoy doing that. Do yourself a favor and go back and listen to Journey. I know this is a lot of dirt right now, but they were an incredible band. You know, and I still think they can contribute a lot. The celebration next year for their anniversary, the tour with Toto. There's lots of time to mend fences here. It doesn't look good, but they'll mend fences because there's too much money at stake. So Neal Schon says, I can't get into the American Express account. I'm going to sue you, Jonathan Cain. And Jonathan Cain says, you're out of the American Express Journey account because you're overspending. Will we ever see what's on there? I don't think. Is there exaggeration on both sides? Could be. Usually more on one side than the other. I ain't picking sides on this one. And I don't know. And anyone who comes on here and pretends, you know, these bloggers who do what I do, vloggers. There's one guy, well, two guys in particular who do this kind of thing. They're always pretending they have inside information, and they're always proven wrong. And I don't know why. Why is Journey calling you up? Hey, I know you don't have a lot of subscribers, but gonna give you some inside information on American Greed. Oh, sorry. I've got American Greed on my mind. I've got like 3 shows on my PVR I gotta watch. Mods, okay. James Clark, favorite Journey song, Precious Time, Off Departure. Yeah, some of you could. There's nothing wrong with telling us what your favorite Journey song is. A real Bill P. I met Greg at Woodstock 69. That's when I first saw Santana. That's right. It was awesome. I'm friends with John Waite. That's how I know Jonathan Cain. Jonathan was a great interview, I must say. He was really, really good. I mean, he said a few things that I kind of winced at a little bit because of, and I had to tell him, we're not going to talk politics, okay? Not going to do that. I'm not going to divide my audience. They don't come to rock history music to talk about politics. But it was still good. You know, he explained everything so well, you know, Don't Stop Believing thing, the way he did the beginning, where it's like the piano and the words are like a question and then the rest is the answer. And I went, wow, that's so cool. Starry Bear. Oh, faithfully, Neutral 69, thank you. Starry Bear. Band infighting. Remember when Izzy Stradlin left Guns N' Roses? I just did a thing on that about 2 weeks ago. I think that was the best move for a human being's best interest. Well, he had to leave. He just felt that, he'd become clean, and he felt that if he stayed, and he couldn't really communicate with the guys. He says he couldn't, Slash and Axel, who he went way back with. I mean, he went back to high school with Axel. Starry Bear, Izzy wrote a ton of the best material. Yes, he did. Very true. And a lot of people say when Izzy left, and he came back for some reunions and found it hard sometimes when he would come back for certain reunions or shows. He would see the same kind of toxic atmosphere. I mean, it's gotten better. Flo says, bonjour, everyone. Bonsoir. Greetings from Normandy. Thank you. I used to be completely French. My name was Jean-Marcel Joseph Beaudin. But I can't speak French anymore. But I can still say it like I speak French. I always have to say, je peux pas parler français. I cannot speak French. And they said, you just did. And I went, that's one of the few lines that I know. And I can say it sounding like a French guy. But I thought I had to lose my French accent when I was in grade 7 to be able to speak on English radio because I knew I wasn't going to live in Quebec. And little did I know that I could have lost it without stop speaking, it's French in a French family. That did not go down well. I'm the only one in my family who can't speak fluent French, and they're all French. Ridiculous. Oh, Starry Bear, Neutral 69, rim shot sound effect to that. Music stream. Yeah, even Slash admitted how important Izzy was to Guns N' Roses songwriting. Izzy quit because he could no longer take Axl's delays. That really bothered him. And the riots. The Izzy had said that. He says the riots and sometimes near riots for Guns N' Roses where, people were getting hurt, man. And you can't show up at a show hours late. People get restless. People are on substances, whether liquid or otherwise. Okay. John Smith, I don't own Capture, but I seriously need to get it. Thornton Weimer, it's a mess. Another American institution of rock and roll is going down the drain. I think they'll resolve it. Dirty Laundry, it's sad. They have to resolve it. They have a tour, and they know they have a little time before the tour. So basically what they'll do is they'll reach an agreement of going, okay, here's the deal. If it is, let's just say, if it is Neal Schon overspending, which Jonathan Cain claims, let's just say that they'll either say, well, let's come upon some kind of agreement so that you have more access to the American Express account, if that's really what it is. But they'll iron it out. It's sad that doing it in public, but it is a lawsuit and people do follow this stuff. And like I said, without sounding guilty or anything, we cover this and it always does well. But if we don't cover it, like the Steve Perry lawsuit of those 25 copyrighted songs that he's worried about, when we didn't cover it, people were giving us hell saying, why didn't you cover that? You cover everything else for Journey. I said, well, actually, we don't cover everything for Journey. They're not one of our A-list bands for whatever reason, but they should be because we do well with Journey. I did well with the Jonathan Cain interview, did incredibly well. But we are doing a lot of interviews right now, so many interviews. I'm talking to John Helliwell next week of Supertramp. We're talking to David Paich again in early December. Trev Lukather coming up next week, Steve Lukather's son, who's got his own projects. He's such a talented young man. What else do I have? A few other ones that we've got. We're trying to get Dee Snider because he's just a gas. He ain't going to take it anymore. Okay. Sue Fields. All involved in this are rich, but greed is a bad thing. Jonathan's wife is also very wealthy, TV evangelist who teaches prosperity. This is sad. It's not about the music. But, there's the biggest misconception about rich people, and I've known, and I'm sure you have as well. He's crossing his hands as he's going to talk good body language. I've known a lot of people who have a lot of money, right? When I was in Edmonton, not that I knew the Edmonton Oilers personally, but I lived with a guy who did know them. I mean, I got to know Grant Fuhrer a little bit because he did a show at our radio station, and I've always been a goalie, so it was a real treat, and he was such a talented goalie. Not the most complicated guy, just a down-home, no holds barred kind of guy, but a really nice guy. So some of these guys were, they were young. They were spending their money left, right, and center and asking my coworker at the radio station to borrow money. He did pretty good. But sometimes rich people do what a lot of us have done through our lives. I've lived paycheck to paycheck before. I certainly don't now. And I'm not rich, but I've just, after a while living paycheck to paycheck, and everyone gets in a rut, and that can happen. But people who make a lot of money can spend a lot of money. Look what happens to lottery winners. Of course, these are people who are not used to money, and they go crazy. But a lot of them end up being broke. So how well do they handle their money? Just because they make a lot of money doesn't mean they have a lot of money or have access to money or liquid or all the things you want to talk about. I'm watching American Greed too much. Sorry, I just like saying that. Shannon, my wife, says, stop saying that. I said, Stacy Keach is in my head. Dave Miles. Dave Miles says, met the guys when they were in Bad English back in the day when they came to see my band Coda. Was your band a Zeppelin band? They were cool. Wait, looked like death warmed over. He doesn't anymore. He looks great. Must have been heavy on, I can't say that word. Dave Miles. Love American Greed. Remember, as I said, in case you missed it, Stacy Keach says he got that inflection from working with John Huston, Angelica Houston's father, who was an actor and a great director. He sometimes talked like this. If you look up John Huston, you'll see that. So he got that inflection from working with John Huston. So when he came to, how am I going to say American Greed? He said it in the best way. I mean, it's almost infectious. It gets in your head. It's in my head. Look at my hands. So I say American Greed. American Greed. Like I said, after this, I'm going to do some editing of the last 3 heart videos we've got and start on some of the old stuff. That sometimes we have interviews, by the way, just as an aside. I'll have interviews that are 6 months old by the time I put them up. Because sometimes if I interview someone who's an up-and-comer or not that well-known, I have to make sure I make money every month, go with the big interviews first. And if I have time to do the other ones, I'll do the other ones. That's just a matter of how we work here. And some of the interviews, like the Guess Who one that I just put up, that's 6 months old. But the information hasn't gotten any old because it's static, right? It doesn't change. It's some of the history of rock and roll. It's just that way. Snowman. I Love Faithfully. Slow dance to that song. Sweet Thing. If Steve didn't get along with the band, that band's drama. Neutral 69. Don't stop believing. Oh, yeah. U-Log. So what is going on with Journey now? Okay, quickly. Neal Schon says he's frozen out of the Journey American Express account. Doesn't have access to it. Never has. Paraphrasing, of course. Jonathan Cain today said, no, it's not because you don't have access. You were kicked out because you're spending too much of the Journey American Express account. So now, and what's going to happen is, and I don't have a little genie around here, but they're going to settle it out of court, and they're going to come upon some kind of agreement, and they're going to tour for the 50th anniversary tour with Toto. Everything's going to look pretty good, it seems. I mean, there's obviously animosity between Neal Schon and Jonathan Cain. There has been for quite a while. John Smith, Izzy was the Keith Richards of Guns N' Roses. Denise Paul, Karma, for what they have, The Voice, did The Voice. Music Stream, Journey has a 50th anniversary tour, just about sold out. Oh, they're going to do it. They're not giving that money back. Sweet Thing. Steve also needed his hip surgery. The band didn't want to wait. That's true. Until Steve was healthy, and Steve said, call the attorney, time for a divorce. And that's a fact, Jack. Nick Cobra. Hope they retire the band. Enough is enough. Stop revolving lead singers. Daniel says, this is beyond sad. You do not air this in public. Sweet Thing. Neal Schon wasn't surprised. He was surprised that Steve lasted as long as he did. Kevin Collins. Captured was the #1 makeout album in 81. A neutral. Steve Perry and Journey went their separate ways. Music Stream. Nick Cobra. Only problem, Journey continues to sell out arenas, and they have the same singer in the last 20 years. Now, no revolving doors. That's true. They've had Arnel Pineda for a while. Okay, guys, I've got to go because it's supper time here. I don't know where you are, but it's 5:34 now. And I got to go watch American Greed. Okay, I won't do that anymore. Hey, thanks for coming on. Appreciate that. Thanks for everyone coming on. I have a lot of, I call them rollouts. That's what I call these things. This thing here was done, oh God, 8 years ago. And I forgot I had it. And I like having, when I talk about a band, a little rollout in the background. There's like fire happening back there now. Yeah, that's what you get. And thanks for everyone who donates to the channel. It makes a big difference to us because some months we just don't make enough. It's the way it goes. But if you want to support the channel, there's a 2Bs. You can join our Ps rather. Join our Patreon. You can have early access to our videos, or you can just make a donation via PayPal. It's right there. Hey, happy Thanksgiving to everyone. I'll be back. I might be back tonight if anything else happens. Or I'll try to come on. I'm going to try to come on every single day. But if news doesn't break, I just want to come out here and say, hey, how's it going? You know, not going to do that. So take care of yourself. John Beaudin, Rock History Music. Subscribe to the channel. Like the videos. It's always cool when you like our videos. I'm going to wait right now to see if you guys like our video. I'm watching. Like, oh, see, that's really nice. Oh, super chat, Kevin Collins. Thank you, Kevin, for saying my name. That's kind of you. Thank you. I appreciate that. But, you know, like our videos, it does help them rate better if you like our videos. And comment on them. And if you're watching this and it's not live, I'll read all the comments, whether it's live or not. So appreciate that. And subscribe to the channel. Take good care of yourself. And happy Thanksgiving. Love you guys.